All our memories, projects, photos, games, everything is just zeros and ones. But where is our entire digital world actually hidden? In this video we will explore the history and development of modern computer storage. You will get tips on how to best archive your photos, and gamers have plenty to look forward to as well. Hard drives were originally created for the banking sector and accounting. They needed fast access to data that had previously been stored on rolls of paper. The IBM 305 RAMAC, Random Access Method of Accounting and Control, was the first computer with a hard drive system, introduced in 1956. The entire system weighed over 900 kilograms, while the disk unit itself weighed around 250 kilograms and contained 50 disks, each 24 inches in diameter. The mechanical platters were magnetically coated, spinning while data was read and written via moving heads, much like today's HDDs. Its capacity was 5 megabytes, a tiny amount by today's standards, but revolutionary at the time. In 1980, the first 5.25-inch hard drives for computers were introduced. These disks were significantly smaller and lighter. The price of these hard drives was around $1,500. These drives were used in the first IBM PCs and the Apple I. The way a disk communicates with a computer or server, how data, signals, and commands are transmitted, is called the interface. Early disks used MFM or RLL encoding together with controllers on the motherboard or SCSI, which determined how bits were written to the platters. In 1986, IDATA appeared, a parallel interface where the disk and controller communicate using a 40 or 80 wire cable. This allowed easy connection to a PC. Each cable could control one or two disks. Today, 3.5-inch hard drives can store several terabytes of data. Data is written by changing the polarity of microscopic areas, similar to how a cassette stores magnetic audio. The platters spin at 5,400 to 7,200 rotations per minute. Power consumption is around 4 to 8 watts. Latency of hard drives ranges from 5 to 10 milliseconds. The read head floats only a few micrometers above the surface. Any drop, shock, or dust can damage the disk. Despite this, I have a hard drive that has been running for more than 10 years without a single bad sector. The current interface is SATA 3, introduced in 2009, offering a theoretical bandwidth of 6 gigabits per second and real disk speeds between 80 and 180 megabytes per second. Current recording methods include CMR, which stands for conventional magnetic recording. Each track is stored next to the other without overlap. Reading and writing are fast and predictable, making it suitable for random access. SMR, or shingled magnetic recording, has been used in recent years, mainly for archival disks and NAS. The tracks on the platter are partially overlapped, like roof shingles. They are ideal for long-term storage and backups. The downside is slower writing for random operations, so they are best for sequential writes. SSD, or solid-state drive, brought a revolution. It has no moving parts. SSDs were tested as early as the 1980s and became commercially available around 1991. Due to high prices and lower capacities, they only reached consumers around 2008. A standard 2.5-inch SSD today can reach several terabytes in capacity, with sequential read and write speeds over 500 megabytes per second, and a latency of around 0.1 millisecond. Power consumption of SSDs is around 1.5 watts during activity and about 0.4 watts when idle. Data is stored in NAND flash memory cells, made of silicon, which store an electrical charge in a transistor's floating gate. Each cell remembers a charge. This is your 0 or 1. Modern three-dimensional NAND technology stacks these cells vertically. More layers mean higher capacity and lower cost, while cells still function the same way. M.2 is not just a new type of drive, but an entire interface. It uses PCI Express lanes instead of SATA, providing a direct highway to the processor. This allows very high read and write speeds. The most common size is 22 by 80 mm. Some use NVMe, others SATA. You need to know what your motherboard supports. At such speeds, cooling is important because higher temperatures trigger thermal throttling, which slows the drive to prevent overheating. Here is a complete comparison table of different types of disks. Disk lifespan is measured by technical specifications. MTBF, or mean time between failures, is a statistical value showing the average time between disk failures during normal use. It is mainly used for mechanical and enterprise disks. It is calculated by dividing the total operation time of all tested units by the number of failures. MTBF is an average, not an exact time for failure. Typical MTBF values are 1 to 2 million hours. TBW, or total bytes written, for SSDs, indicates the total amount of data that can be written before NAND cells wear out. It represents the lifespan of flash memory. It is calculated by multiplying the number of writes to memory cells by the capacity of each cell. For example, an SSD with a lifespan of 300 terabytes written can store 300 terabytes of data over its lifetime before the probability of cell failure increases. A good tip when using an SSD is to keep at least 10, ideally 20% of free space. SSDs use wear leveling to evenly distribute writes across all cells. If the disk is full, cells cannot be used efficiently, which lowers performance and lifespan. No medium is eternal. Hard drives can fail from drops, SSDs from exhausted writes. The best strategy is to combine them. For long-term photo storage, it is ideal to keep a hard drive or external drive in a cool and dry place. Lossless formats such as PNG, RAW, or TIFF are best for archiving. High-quality JPEG is also sufficient. Practical advice: for 20 years, make 2 copies, one on a hard drive and one on an SSD, and check them once a year. How are disks used in gaming? Modern AAA games often stream hundreds of gigabytes of data during gameplay, including textures, models, and sounds. If you use a hard drive, textures load slowly, pop-in occurs, load screens are longer, and open-world games may stutter. A SATA SSD improves sequential loading, making load screens faster and pop-in smaller. An NVMe M.2 SSD has extremely low latency and high input-output operations per second, allowing almost instant texture loading, ideal for new games and first-person shooters where every millisecond counts. IOPS, or input-output operations per second, indicates how many small read or write operations a disk can handle per second. Hard drives are insufficient for streaming small files, with only a few hundred IOPS, while NVMe SSDs reach tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands, providing fast access to thousands of small files in a game. Practical recommendations: for hardcore or competitive gamers, an NVMe M.2 SSD with at least 1 terabyte is recommended. For casual gamers, a combination of a SATA SSD with 1 terabyte and a hard drive with 2 terabytes for older games is sufficient. For older PCs with only hard drives, it is always recommended to add at least 1 SATA SSD for Windows. Startup, responsiveness, and overall system performance will improve significantly, giving an older computer a new lease of life. Every technology has its limits, but its value comes from the data we protect, memories, work, the past. Archive wisely. Human and digital memory lasts only as long as you take care of it. Remember, the best backup is the one you made in time.